Hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm from Fangirlish. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
I like your necklace.
Thank you. All right, well, let's just get into it then, shall we?
Cool.
Okay, I saw the movie a few nights ago and I really enjoyed it. So I have just a couple of questions, obviously about the movie. So after we collided, ends with Tessa and Hardin running into her dad as they leave the tattoo shop, but you
Yeah.
had them start the interaction inside of the apartment. Was that like what was the idea behind changing that so it starts like that? And did you think it would be confusing to people who've seen the previous movies?
No, I don't think it would be confusing to people who've seen the previous ones because it's kind of, I guess for me, it was a lot of like hitting a reset button. Like I didn't, I felt like my take on these two movies are quite different than the previous director's takes. So I felt like it was more of almost a reboot than a continuation.
Mhm.
So I guess that was kind of the thought process that went into there. And like you just can't deny the fact that like we have different actors and like it is very much kind of a separate thing. It's a different tone. So I thought that it would be a fresher take to just say, okay, you know what? This is a whole new world. I mean, it's based on the world that you know and love already, but giving the fans and also allowing newcomers to come in and like experience it as if like this is the first time that things we're going to set you up again.
Mhm. And what do you think sets your style of directing apart from the previous directors in the After franchise?
I think that the after we collided there was a very different tone. There was more of like a comedic flair to it,
Mhm.
or like a tongue-in-cheekness, and that's great. I think for me though, I wanted to make it something that like, when I read the books, it feels a little more serious to me. Like I buy into the story as opposed to um seeing like a joke quality to it.
Mhm.
Just for just I think it's different people the way that it resonates with them. My life experience is such that like I've been in similar situations before, and so to me it's like there's a gravity to it. That Hardin and Tessa kind of toxic love relationship. But I can also see, the other takes are, that doesn't make them any less valid. It's just that my take was a little bit different.
Yeah. And what was it like for you to film without input from the author? Was Anna involved at all in any way?
Yeah, in the beginning she was,
Mm.
which was really great because I got set up, seeing her vision for the world, and it really does help having. I love adapting because it never feels like a solo mission. It feels like you're collaborating with the writer all the time. Like when there were questions about wardrobe or dialogue or intention or what have you, I went back to the book. It wasn't just something I made up out of my head. I mean, I think you can tell when you watch both of the last two movies that there's a lot of attention to detail, and it's not born of like, oh, I'm going to show them how much I can pay attention to the books. It's really like it felt like more of a collaboration with
Mhm.
with the books and with the author.
Yeah. And then in the book, like Hardin's more apprehensive about certain aspects of Tessa's, reproductive health. Like obviously as it pertains to her becoming pregnant, he actually accuses her of trapping him. But you flipped that and had him like be more compassionate about it. Like how did you rework that? Like what was your why was it important for you to do that? For you to flip it to make him be more compassionate in that sense?
Well, that was something that actually we did consult. Like I talked to Anna and Jen Gibgot. We went over that stuff a lot, and we wanted to have book Hessa and book Hardin, who has that edginess.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also something to be said for what would that book look like if it had been written in 2021. You know, there's a very different cultural sensitivity and different cultural conversations happening now, with, especially in particular in relation to women's reproductive health and kind of toxic relationships and all of that, and with the Me Too movement and stuff. Like, I think you know, there would have been a different version had this movie been made when the books came out, as opposed to doing them now. So I think we had to update Hardin a little bit. He has to be a little more woke. I mean, he's still edgy and he still is that frustrating Hardin. But I think, yeah, he had to be modernized.
Yeah. And then Hessa's relationship, you know, is constantly referred to as toxic, and people don't think that their characters can grow. Do you think that your films will change people's opinions?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it also depends on how much you look into it, because for me, when I analyze Hardin, even in After We Fell, I see him evolving, you know, where like these little moments that I don't know if other people necessarily read into it. I mean, it's the Afterverse, so they probably do read into everything. But like, to me, there are moments in the movie where he could escalate things, and like, he's angry and you can tell that. And normally he would go after her and kind of, you know, be an asshole. But in this movie, we see him censor himself, and like, and not in a way that is like bad censorship, but like in a way that is respectful of her and is thoughtful of her, because I think that's a lot of what Hardin has lacked in the past, is like any awareness outside of himself. And we see him being more sensitive to her, and opening up. So yeah, I do think he is maturing. And I think especially in number 4, he does. I think it just, you know, takes an astute eye, because ultimately you can't have too much growth or else the story wouldn't exist.
Yeah. And then
or the drama.
And then my last question for you is, can you tell us anything about the spin-off movies, and will they be based off new stories from Anna Todd, or is it going to be like an entirely new world?
I can't say anything about the spin-offs, unfortunately. I would love to. But everything is still ongoing. Nothing has actually like happened enough that I could even tell you, even if I wanted to, and Voltage weren't, or I mean, you know, if the producers weren't like keeping me silent, but like, there's actually nothing to tell because nothing has been decided yet. It's all still ongoing. But you know, what is really cool is that we do very much take into account the books and the fandom in every decision. I think that's what's really exciting about this franchise, is that it's interactive. It's not just this is how it is. It's very much something where like, I'm online constantly seeing the feedback and incorporating it however I can, because I think that's really important. And so it's unusual, but I think really great. And I'm really lucky to be a part of it all.
Yeah, that's great. I think is that all for us now? I think it says we have 1 minute left. Like, I don't know how quickly you can answer, but what was your favorite set piece, as far as like all the places, Seattle, London?
Oh, my favorite set piece by far is the cabin. We built it from scratch. You know, we shot this in Bulgaria, so there weren't a lot of options for a lot of things. And there were no A-frame cabins. And like, I'm a like Pinterest obsessed person when I go to make a movie. So I had all of these, like I had the whole thing in my mind, and there was nothing like that. And I had the most amazing production designer and also really great producers who fought for me and fought for that cabin, because it was very expensive, but they made it, and it is so beautiful, and I just can't wait for everyone to see it.
That's great. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer all my questions.
Yes.
And I hope that everybody enjoys the movie when it comes out in a few more days.
Thanks. Me too.
Thank you.